everybody. Welcome to another episode of Friends Talking Nerdy. This is Tim Jasmine.
And I am Kim.
How's your week been going this week?
Well, good now that I'm not working.
That's good.
And you?
Doing good. Same old. I did get some work in on production for episode 100.
Oh, that's right. You didn't you?
Yep, that was fun.
Right on.
Definitely liked it.
I got my hair cut today.
Nice.
And I got it colored again, too.
Yep. Well, the same color, right? Looks like
yeah,
the same type of purple.
it's kind of a burgundy purpley color. I like it.
You can see I'm very observant.
It's okay. Women have a lot more words for colors than men do, I think.
Okay. Yeah, we are pretty simple at times.
Simple's a good word, yeah.
What would you say?
No, simple is good. That sums it up.
Okay. Well, you may hear some occasional guest on the show today. We decided to see if Peach and Phil wanted to be guest stars temporarily.
Those are the cats, by the way.
Yeah. The show mascots.
Yeah, Peach is sitting next to me right now, purring away. And Phil's in the other room kicking litter out of the litter box because that's what he's good at.
Great.
Yep.
Anyway, what a transition.
Yeah. Well, we're talking about our kids, basically, so...
Yeah. Well, coming up on a bit of a personal anniversary in my life. On March 1st, 2011, my mother passed away.
I'm so sorry about that.
Yeah. Well, she'd been battling not only with raising me and my sister growing up, but with her last decade of her life was non-cancerous brain tumor. She dealt with multiple brain operations and everything like that. So, it was sad, but a lot of it was also relief at that point because she wouldn't have to worry about that again, of course. But it just made me think because, Facebook messages, I remember back at that time, a few days beforehand, we were given word. My sister is I say manipulator in a good way because she has a way of being able to find, like she was able to get 2 plane tickets for free by asking the right people.
Wow.
To get us to Grand Rapids and back. So,
wow.
Yeah.
That's a good skill to have.
Yeah.
And it's good that you know somebody with that skill. That's great.
If I become famous, she'll be my manager and dog walker. But I knew a few days beforehand, so I saw on Facebook Messenger, and it was just reminiscing about that time. I mean, I remember thinking on the one hand, my mother did not like my ex-wife at all.
Oh.
And the anniversary of marriage to my ex-wife was February 28th.
Oh, geez.
What I thought deep down was my mother, since she knew that time was coming, was hoping it would be February 28th so everybody would be talking about her and not the ex.
That's diabolical.
You never met my mom.
I never did, apparently. I probably would have liked her, I bet.
I would hope so, yeah.
Do you think she would like me?
I would think she would, yeah. I mean, you're more down to earth than others that she met, but that's a different story for a different day.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but got on the plane and traveled there. Went from Sacramento, California, did a layover in Minneapolis, and then the plane, took us all the way to Grand Rapids from there. Got off the plane. Called my now ex-wife on the phone and found out over the phone that she had passed away.
Oh.
Yeah. At that point, I was waiting for my friend Chris. This was going back home was a great way to reunite with old friends and family. And like I mentioned on the show before, Chris is the brother from another mother type of deal.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, him and I don't have as much conversation as maybe we should, but if he came to town, I'm there for him. If I go to Grand Rapids, he's there for me, that type of deal. But
gotcha.
We got in his truck and we were riding to the highway to get to the place where my mother was still at, and he took out a joint while driving.
Jeez.
And then we ended up the thing with the roads in Grand Rapids is kind of similar in other places too, but just you will have a name of one road, but there can be a difference between southeast and southwest, based on that. And we ended up going to the southeast address, the mirror address of the place we were supposed to go. So we ended up waking up some people that didn't know what the hell was going on, and then we came to the right place, obviously, and then, that's when I was able to see my mother for the last time, type of deal, Not anything anybody wants to see ever, I guess,
Yeah.
But I remember her just lying there, and, oddly enough, have you ever seen those YouTube videos where parents will have their babies and, like, move their chins to make it look like the babies are talking?
Did you do that?
No, I didn't. I thought about it. Like, do a little video like, I leave everything in the will to Tim because he's super cool. Yeah, my mother would have laughed at that. But, yeah. And then later that night, the crematorium folks came, picked her up, and
Now she's
in
in
a sack in my closet. But just, I don't know, one of those deals. It made me realize too, because that was right about the time that I was realizing that I've been an atheist all along. It made me realize that death is a part of life.
Yeah.
And it is sad. It's okay to be sad. I'm still sad, but you go on. You move on. So.
Yeah, that's definitely something that I've really come to understand more in the last 10 years because of some of the work that I do with hospice organizations in the area related to my job.
Mm-hmm.
And, death is a part of life. Everybody's going to die at some point, and all we can really do is hope for a comfortable death and do all we can for our loved ones so that they have a peaceful, comfortable death.
Or make it cool enough to be on Tosh.0.
Oh, jeez. So are you saying that when you pass, you want me to, like, strap your corpse to a rocket or something like that?
Something like that. That'd be funny.
Okay.
Well, I mean, Hunter S. Thompson had his ashes shot into the air in a rocket. Johnny Depp paid for it.
Yeah, that's right. And I've actually, of all the things you can do with ashes, there are a lot of things you can do with people's remains. Apparently there's a company that will pack them into shotgun shells so that your relatives, if you're like a hunter or something, so they can go hunting with you for one last time.
Oh my god. I even heard that they can, like, compress them or something like that and turn them into essentially like jewels or...
Oh yeah, that's really common actually to there's a lot of there's not a lot, I don't know how many, but there are quite a few different glass artists that, especially like with pets and stuff, can like swirl their ashes into like a pendant or something. I've seen them. I've actually thought about doing that with some of my cats' remains.
Yeah, I don't know what my mother would want me to do with hers. I mean, I think she would laugh that I've been having jokes about it all these years, but I think she ultimately would want me to do something, so.
Well, I mean, there's no reason why you can't do, like, a lot of people, like, do pendants. I know there's a couple glass artists out there that will make, like, little memorial tiles that you can, like, display on your mantle or something like that.
Yeah.
Things like that. And then you could, like, scatter them. There's always that option. A lot of people want to be, like, put in the ocean and stuff like that.
All right. Well, you've been reading a book this week.
I have been reading a book. It's a brand new book, actually. I read a preview, and I thought it was the preview really caught me, and I was like, all right, I'm just going to buy this book because I thought it was one of those books that it's actually, I think it's an important book. It's called Jane Against the World, and it's by Karen Blumenthal. And it's not a fiction work. It's about the history of abortion and abortion rights and birth control rights in the United States. And Jane Against the World, the title comes from this organization that was in Chicago in I think it was the 60s primarily, late 50s, early 60s, before abortion was legal. I mean, it was legal, but it was only like there were like all these hoops you had to jump through, and you had to have a reason, and it had to be approved by doctors and a hospital board.
So like it is in Ohio.
Basically, but that was countrywide. I mean, you couldn't just say, I don't want this baby, I need an abortion. You couldn't do that. It wasn't allowed, basically. And it was, of course, it was men you had to get permission from to get your abortion.
And they're always reasonable and thoughtful.
Yeah. So there was an organization in Chicago. They ended up going by the name of Jane, just because it was like a code for like, you have a problem you need help with, call Jane.
Sounds like the opening of the A-Team.
Yeah, it does. It does kind of sound like the opening of the A-Team, but basically, yeah, it was
women throwing condoms like ninja stars.
that would be a show I would watch. But no, this
it's copyrighted, bitches. Anyway.
This organization, they would arrange for women to have. They weren't legal abortions, but they were safe abortions. They were being performed by professionals that knew what they were doing. They weren't like basically the whole back alley abortion that you hear about.
Like a pro bono attorney. They were trained in the medical profession in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, basically. So they would have like two locations. There'd be a location where they'd meet the patient, and then they would take the patient to another location, so that they wouldn't. They're trying to throw off like any investigators or cops or anybody like this. I mean, it was pretty elaborate, but they ended up getting arrested at some point. And these women were so concerned for the privacy of the people they were helping that they had like all the index cards with all the patient information. Mm-hmm. They were eating them in the back of the police car. They were eating the cards so that the cops wouldn't get the information of all the people they helped.
Why didn't the cops take that first?
Because this was the 60s. They were like, oh, these women are... Just put them in the back of the car.
Oh.
They didn't take their purses away or anything like that. Yes, hello, Peach. I don't know if the microphone's going to pick her up because she's kind of far away from it, but she's squeaking and...
Well, she found a way last time, so...
Yeah, she's very excited to be sitting next to me again. So, yeah. Anyhow, Jane Against the World. It's very interesting because this is all stuff that happened before I was born. When I was born in 1973, this was all happening before I was born. And I'm just like... so grateful that the women who were involved with this work were doing what they did, because then their work ended up leading up to more and more liberal laws, which have been backsliding since. But yeah, I'm only about a third of the way through the book, so I'm at 1970 right now.
Okay.
But it's a very interesting book. It's very well written. It's written for the general audience, so it's reading very, it flows really well. It's not going to be one of those sort of history books that you just are slogging through.
Well, depends on the author too, and also personal perception. I mean, because I forgot Doris Kearns Goodwin, who wrote Team of Rivals. I love that book. But for me, I could sense her passion. You know, she, you know, it's the type of deal that, I mean, she'd be the perfect type of guest on the show, because you get her talking on the subject and boom, you're just enveloped in a world type of deal.
What was that book about?
Lincoln and how he assembled his rivals during the presidential election before he got elected into his cabinet.
Oh, okay.
So just interesting concept, and maybe something more politicians need to be reading today. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, this book, the way it's written, it definitely flows well, and it's not, there's not a whole lot of medical terminology you're not going to understand. There's breaks in the book that they're calling pregnant pauses. They're like sidebars, basically, like going into more detail about like what else was going on at this time, sort of thing, so that you have more context.
Sounds like how they do the Complete Idiot's Guide to books.
Yeah, that's kind of what it felt like to me when I was reading it. But it's not one of those complete idiot, you know, or like Abortion for Dummies or something like that. It's nothing like that.
And a guy holding up a hanger with a smile.
Oh God! Oh, that's terrible, Tim. That's what we're trying to get away from.
I know. That was.
Yeah.
I wanted the reaction more than anything.
You just like making me outraged.
Well,
As he nods, yep. I like to make you outraged, Kim.
well, I mean, Perry Farrell, come on.
Don't start.
Okay.
No. No. I'm just saying no.
Jane says no.
Fuck you, Tim.
All right.
And who were you reading about this week?
Well, read a New York Times article about Hank Azaria. Hank recently came out with his the logic behind his decision to leave the character Apu.
So why don't you explain who Hank Azaria is first? Not everybody knows.
Well, I would think most people that listen to this show do, but if you do not, and you are aware of the television show The Simpsons, he's the voice actor that did the voice for Apu, but also currently does the voices for Chief Wickham, Mo, and plenty of other characters. I mean, he's a vital castmate on that show.
And Apu is the man who runs the
Quickie Mart.
The Quickie Mart.
Yeah, and yeah. Recently. I say recently, but recently for white people, it's become brought to white people's attention. I'm just going to bluntly say it, just how racist the Apu character was, and the types of bullshit that us as white people have put Indian Americans or Indians, if they're citizens or whatever, you know what I mean, Indians. Mm-hmm. Just the bullshit nonsense we've had to go through on that. Now, the one thing I did not necessarily like about the article is this, and it's not about Hank's decision. Hank, I can because he talked about at first being a little defensive, thinking along the lines that, admittedly, I used to think about the Apu character, because Apu, right now, compared to what he was in the first time he ever appeared on that show, is a well-rounded character. Wife, kids, and there's a lot of depth to that character. But, yeah, I just, the thing I did not care for, I guess, in the article was the fact that it was celebrating his decision. It's just, you get a cookie for doing what you should have done in the first place.
Yeah. It shouldn't have celebrated his decision. It should have just been like, hey.
This is why.
This is what he did. Yeah.
Yeah, and to be clear, I think it is important for people in his position to explain why, because this is a teaching moment here. Again, like I said with the Apu character, it's a well-rounded character. I like Apu on the show, but yeah, you can't. There has to be some changes. Now, they did talk in the article that Apu is not necessarily gone.
Well, I would hope they wouldn't just cut the character because, are they going to get somebody who's actually brown to voice him or something?
That was alluded to in the article, and why not? You could always do something silly instead. I mean, it's The Simpsons. It's not a realistic show. You can switch a voice. In this instance, it would be appropriate to switch the voice character, unlike recasting Mrs. Krabappel, for instance.
Yeah.
I think they could come up with something funny, like Apu getting surgery, or decide.
Or like Apu has to or maybe one of his kids gets tonsillitis, and then he gets tonsillitis, and he has an operation to remove his tonsils, and it changes his voice.
Exactly.
Yeah, you're welcome, Simpsons.
Who knows? They may have already done that in season 7. No, I don't know. But yeah, I mean, it's again, my focus wasn't even necessarily on the article. It's just this stuff should be pointed out, but not celebrated. It's like hearing stories of guys like I remember this story. I heard it last night. We talked about it during the recording about how a guy who had this guy wrote an article and explained his experience. I guess he had something wrong with his anus, and he had to have some type of pad in order.
Oh yeah, that story I told you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was brought up last night too, but it was the guy. He bought the cheap pads and irritated the hell out of them, and then he went and bought the expensive stuff, and then realized it was you. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But yeah, it realized that the expensive stuff was actually a lot more appropriate, and
Yeah, because he basically had been giving like his girlfriend shit for buying the more expensive pads and stuff when he went grocery shopping with her one time and she was buying the more expensive ones, and he was like, well, why don't you get the store brand? And she's like, those suck. I don't want the store brand, but they're $3 cheaper. It's like, yeah, but you don't understand. I have to like put it on my intimate bits. I want it to be comfortable. It's just like buying like the cheap toilet paper versus the more expensive, softer kind.
Yeah.
It's there's some things you just can't compromise on, or you can't cheap out on.
Yeah. Now, with the reason I brought that article up is, again, that guy should not be celebrated for having that realization. It's important that he tell his story. I do agree with that, because there are some idiots out there who don't know that.
Yeah. Well, what it comes down to is that we should listen to the people who actually have the experience.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's like, and there's no shortage of folks who are of Indian descent that can voice a character for The Simpsons. There's lots of people out there who would be more than happy to do it, I'm sure. So,
like some actors on a TV show you're watching.
Oh, yes. I am watching a show.
What a segue.
Well, the thing is, the show I'm watching is British. So they probably,
think of all the British actors
I just now thought of that. I'm like, wait a second, there's a lot of folks of Indian descent who've grown up in Great Britain.
Mm-hmm.
So, now that would be an interesting plot point on The Simpsons. This is like all of a sudden, Apu starts speaking in a clipped, formal British accent. Maybe he hits his head, and he just starts speaking with an accent. That's happened to people before.
Mm-hmm.
What, Peach?
She's agreeing with you.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, the show I've been watching lately, it's called Harlots.
Yeah.
And it's on Hulu.
I don't know.
Tim's just excited because he comes wandering into where I'm watching TV, and occasionally he catches sights of ladies bouncing on guys, and he's just like, "What are you watching?"
Is she trying to pretend she's a Lone Ranger? Hi-ho, Silver.
Yeah, hi-ho, Silver. No, it's a show called Harlots. It's set in London. It's a costume drama. These are I don't know if they've discovered America. It's somewhere between, there's slaves in America at the time, so it's probably early 1800s.
All right.
I'm just like trying to place like the time frame in my head. So it's like early 1800s. It follows, these women who run various bawdy houses or whorehouses or whatever you want to call them.
Well, they were a legitimate business at that time, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, it was still illegal, but if you knew the right people and you had the right clientele, you could get away with it otherwise. Anyway.
So I couldn't be a member.
No, probably not.
Thanks for the support.
One of the stars of the show is Samantha Morton. If you don't know who she is, one of her more famous roles was as one of the precogs in Minority Report with Tom Cruise.
The one that talked?
She was the female one, yes. The other two were boys. So she was the female precog. And she is great. She's absolutely great. Leslie Manville is one of the other leaders of a bawdy house. She's in a movie that's coming out very soon with Liam Neeson here in the United States. I cannot remember the name of it. It's one you won't want to see. It's one of those like emotional drama type movies.
No explosions?
No explosions.
Okay.
Yeah, it's an all around fun show to watch. I mean, if you like,
for the whole family.
Not for the whole family. It's definitely for mature audiences, just as they warned at the beginning of the show.
Look, Billy, take notes. No.
Yeah. Another person who's in it is Liv Tyler. She plays like a a high and mighty, well-born lady who becomes friends with one of the whores.
She has no personality whatsoever.
You're right, she doesn't, but she looks really pretty in the outfits and everything. She looks prettier now than she used to because she put on some weight. She looks much better now, I think.
I mean, in the 90s, for her role in a music video, I got no problem with that. But, yeah, just wow. I mean, you like those times in The Simpsons where you go to Homer's forehead, to see what's in his head when it's thinking, I just expect to hear, like, it's type of deal,
I don't think she's I don't think she's like the best. I don't think she's the best actress ever, but I like her. I think she's likable. I'd like her in this role.
I compare her to a Parker Posey. She's just too actressy.
Oh, I like Parker Posey.
I can't stand her.
Now,
because I see her and it's just like, I am an actress. I am playing a part where I work in a bookstore because I'm an actress.
I can understand that feeling, but I don't have that feeling about her. I've had that feeling about other people, though.
And for folks that are listening for the first time, we are both right. This is just our perception.
I don't know. I don't know if you're right in this case.
Well, you know what I mean.
I know what you mean. But anyway, if you don't mind some sex and naughty stuff and
what would Jesus say?
What's with you and the voices lately?
I don't know. They're bringing laughs. You said you almost peed once. So.
I don't know if that was like out of laughter or fear. I mean, geez.
Fear?
Sure. I don't know. Anyway, Harlots on Hulu. It's a blast. Blast off to fun. All right. So, it's time for our Album of the Week.
Album of the Week.
Yes. And it was my choice this week. And I chose Garbage with their self-titled debut album from 1995. And if you don't know what self-titled means, that means it's called Garbage. Garbage.
Yeah, this album is garbage.
I don't think so. I think it's a great album.
I was not saying that. I was just...
Okay.
Yeah.
I know. I'm just being a smartass. Because I can. Because it's our show.
Yeah.
And we can do what we want.
Damn right.
Alrighty. So, the reason why I chose this album is because it's the album that got me into this group. And it's very 90s.
That it is.
It's very 90s, but I still like it. And... yeah. There's something that we talk about on a pretty regular basis, which is like songs that flow together, and the order in which you put things on an album, which isn't as necessarily as big of a deal now as it used to be, because now everybody usually just listens to they don't always listen to an album all the way through. They just listen to songs that are part of a playlist. But with this album, I think it's one of the best examples of a good track list that I've seen in a long time. I think that the track list is actually pretty much perfect the way that the order of the songs are. That was just something I wanted to point out.
Okay.
All right. Did you have any thoughts about it right off the bat?
Overall thoughts, I'm not going to listen to it again, but that's just my taste. As always, for new listeners on the show, we give our opinions and we respect each other's opinions. So, it's going to be like Siskel and Ebert, blah, blah, blah. We said that many, many times before. I loved Shirley Manson's voice. I don't know if I would agree with it flowing well. A lot of that, admittedly, may just be my personal enjoyment of music. If it's not my kind of music, it may flow well for people that do like that type of music. You get my point. I did notice there were a couple of tracks that felt like they could have been in different spots. It was a nice foundation for what they ultimately became and what Shirley Manson ultimately became. So, most first albums, most debut albums aren't masterpieces. It is rare. I mean, not every, because the bands that have had major hits with their very first album don't really generally follow it up that much. I mean, maybe an argument could be had for Guns N' Roses, but even then, they burned out real quickly.
Oh yeah, Guns N' Roses, they made like maybe 2 decent albums, and that was it.
Yeah.
Everything since has just been shit.
Yep.
But I think that has to do more with Axl Rose being a dickhead other than anything else.
Well, and drugs too and all that stuff.
Yeah, drugs and plastic surgery and
yeah.
too much money with not enough, what's the word? Responsibility? Foresight? All those things.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're not talking about Guns N' Roses. We're talking about garbage. Ready to do it track by track?
Let's dive into garbage.
Let's... I'm just picturing like this big swimming pool just filled with garbage. Let's dive into garbage. Swan dive right in the middle.
Like Scrooge McDuck, but...
Yeah, but with trash. Be like
I
Oscar,
like trash.
Oscar the Grouch. Okay, first track is called Super Vixen. Thoughts?
I wrote that it kind of followed the Nirvana example of loud chorus, quiet verses. I would have liked it if the transitions from quiet to loud were not as clunky. I did enjoy the guitar work, and this is going to be a common issue, in my opinion, throughout the album, but I did think Shirley Manson's vocals were muddied in the song. That is not knocking her performance, because, again, I love her as a singer. But I just felt that her vocals were not produced right.
Yeah, and that I think some of that has to do with this being a first album.
But look who's also in the band. Butch Vig, who produced one of the most successful albums of all time. Even though this came out on a smaller label, from what I understand, he had access to any type of equipment that he could have.
But even with good equipment, if you're not familiar with the way that someone's voice works, it's...
Yeah. I mean...
a lot of times when you're mixing when you're working with an artist for the first time, you're not going to get the best results.
That, and from what I read too, I believe that some of the songs on this album were originally written for a male to sing. So, having to essentially rewrite that. Yeah, again, I'll go into that for each individual track that I noted it, but I did think that the vocals were muddied and could have been produced a little better to make them, seem better with the music. Okay,
I didn't hear that personally. I think it was a solid song.
Yeah, again, that's just my opinion. So.
Yep. All right, track 2 is called Queer. This is one of the best tracks on the album, I think. That's why it was one of their hits. But yeah, I don't know, I just really like the way that it all flows together. Her voice with like the music, and it's really good.
I thought it had a great opening, and the fact that I could picture the band playing the song in like a small, dirty club.
Oh yeah,
type of deal.
I mean, like speakeasy kind of feel.
Yeah, that speaks a lot to the song. I don't think it's perfect. I think the music on here was more kind of like what you mentioned and what I mentioned last week with Casey Musgraves, more functional to the vocals. But this is an example where it did elevate her vocals, and so I definitely say it's pretty good. Not necessarily my favorite on the album, but
you know what it probably is that there's some songs on here that aren't as strong, and they were probably ones that were recorded first, and then after listening to them a few times, and then maybe they didn't have the budget to re-record. But I think that this one was probably one of the ones they recorded later in their sessions because of the way that it sounds.
Yeah.
Because it's mixed. It's mixed better.
Yep.
Okay, so track 3 is Only Happy When It Rains is the name of the song. This is one of those songs that anytime it rains, it comes into my head because especially after it's either been like really hot and dry, or it when it's been cold, and then and it snows or there's ice, and then it warms up enough that it's just rain. Because I really don't like extremes in weather. I don't like it when it's really hot, and I don't like it when it's really cold.
Then never go to Michigan.
I know, that's one of the reasons why I live here. And the problem with climate change is that it's starting to affect the weather here. It's not as middle of the road anymore. But that's another story altogether. But yeah, only happy when it rains. Anytime I do like a theme, I do theme playlists for myself sometimes. And I had like a rain playlist where all the songs had to mention rain either in the title or in the lyrics of the song. Of course, this is on it, but I like it. I don't know what else to say except I like it. There's something about the song. It just gets me.
I said that it sounds like it can be in a commercial.
It probably could.
You know, I expect that, I'll use the Nissan example again. This would be perfect for like a car commercial, the new Nissan Spectacular or something like that. It's a lot more polished than the first two tracks, and it for me that didn't really bring much. I didn't think the song was bad, and there was nothing really stand out that I can say that was bad with the song. It's just not my cup of tea.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not your cup of tea.
Nope.
All right, track 4, As Heaven Is Wide. All right, so I like the music on this song, but the lyrics kind of bug me. I don't like lyrics about God and stuff. They make me uncomfortable. I don't like it when songs are overly religious. It makes me uncomfortable. Unless it's like a classic hymn or flat out gospel, where the whole point.
Or Scotty playing the bagpipes, but that was Amazing Grace. I guess that's a hymn.
That's a hymn.
Star Trek 2, Wrath of Khan.
Yeah, that's a hymn. Amazing Grace, it's one of my favorite hymns, actually. As Heaven Is Wide, it's because it keeps talking about they want to be as far from God as angels can fly. That's it. Just like, what? I don't know. So the lyrics are just kind of all over the place.
Yeah, and that's the tough thing. I mean, it's like probably the reason why they, say don't talk about religion at work or, in public or anything like that, because when you put out those lyrics, you're only going to appeal to a small amount of people. There's no real, genuine religious type of, artistry, whatever, for song making that you can do that's going to make, Muslims, and Christians and other religions, all feel it says something to them.
And the thing is, it's not even really a religious song. It's just, I don't know. There's just something about it. I'm just like, I just don't like these lyrics. I just don't like it.
Stop it.
Yeah, basically.
The notes I had that it starts out breaking into a Prodigy song, which was kind of odd. The vocal mix was muddy again, but in this song I didn't care for. I think Shirley sang the song a little too monotone for my taste.
Well, I think it actually was run through some kind of effect.
And that's another thing I forgot to bring up too. I mean, I very much do believe that the vocals are just as much of an instrument as a guitar, as anything else. And with that, in a studio, if there's a digital effect or any sort of effect that they can put onto the voice to give it a better texture on a song, by all means take advantage of it. But when it starts getting hard to understand what's being said, or it really takes you out of the mood of the music, you got to learn how to balance.
Yeah, that's very true. Track 5, Not My Idea. This one, I'm kind of middle of the road on this one. Because it just kind of the same lyrics over and over again. I don't know. I just was kind of middle of the road on that one.
I put it sounded like they used a drum machine in the song, which, considering the fact that they did use real instruments in previous songs, was a little jarring. I felt it was also jarring how it bounced from a dark feeling in the song to, I believe it was the chorus that sounded like a 90s pop rock song. Yeah, just that dark and light was just kind of, yeah, like what is this supposed to be, you know?
Yeah, it's almost like they had like two separate songs they just kind of put together.
Yeah, which can definitely be done. I mean, the Beatles did it plenty of times.
Yeah, that's the Beatles. Track 6 is called A Stroke of Luck. This is one of the ones that I was kind of like, another one that I'm like, is it the sort of Jesus-y lyrics? Stroke of luck, a gift from God, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, I mean, I put that it had a slow plotting opening. There was too much reliance on the synthesizers. Another complaint with the vocal mix on the song, but at the end of the day, it was just there. There was nothing in the song that made me really go ew type of deal, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
It's just, it was there. I mean, it's like there's some bands like one of my oldest son's favorite bands, Linkin Park. I can't stand them.
Fuck Linkin Park. Sorry.
Yeah, she
sorry,
said,
kiddo.
"Fuck your band."
Sorry, kiddo. Yeah, I'm not a Linkin Park fan. They're overrated. Yeah, the Stroke of Luck. It's just kind of. I think the word for that song would be swampy.
I mean, the same type of deal. I think swampy and muddy can be interchanged, really. I mean,
well, muddy implies brown and swampy implies green. And songs have colors, if you didn't know that.
I do know.
Yeah. At least in my head, they do. When I listen to music, I see colors.
That's called acid.
No, it's just the way my brain works when it comes to...
It's like Fantasia, songs. You know.
Yeah, I guess. It's Fantasia in my brain all the time. Track 7.
Is it like the Land of Chocolate?
No. Okay. Land of Chocolate's different. That's a different song altogether. Track 7 is called Vow. I don't have anything to say about this song because it's really unremarkable to me. I can't even bring it into my head right now. A lot of times, because I've listened to this album many, many times, I can bring like the music into my head once I like say the name of the song. I can't with this. It obviously has left no impression on me.
I think this note will probably encapsulate that song that I wrote.
Okay.
I could see this song being played over the end credits of a 90s edgy romantic comedy.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, think about all the types of songs that you would hear from movies during that era, during the end credits, and I think it would fit perfectly.
All right.
Yeah.
Works for me.
Okay.
All right, track 8 is called Stupid Girl. I like this song a lot because we all know a girl like that. Don't we? You do. I know you do.
Probably dated a few, right?
Yeah. Probably both have.
Yeah. High five.
Yeah. Yeah, Stupid Girl. Oh, I'm back to my head lyrics. Sorry. I'm tired. Yeah, my brain is blank. Tim, help me.
I put I did like the drum opening. They took that from Train in Vain from The Clash.
Oh, they did?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying necessarily note for note, but it's the same, type of. They probably switched something around, but it was definitely inspired by Train in Vain. I wasn't a huge fan of her vamping in the song, and by that I mean, if you listen to her work on The World Is Not Enough, when she's singing the chorus by vamping, it's just, you can imagine her body getting into it and whatnot. She's very much a visual performance, just as much as she is a musician. But in this case, I didn't quite think it fit. Because even on a record, I don't have to see her to, know, obviously seeing her in clips on TV, videos and all that, you know how she moves and whatnot, but you listen to this song, you can picture, I don't know, and that's probably me bringing a lot into it, but...
Yeah. All right, track 9, Dog New Tricks. I think this is one of the weaker tracks on the album. This one and the next one. I didn't even know that that's what she was saying in the chorus. It's one of those songs that just kind of runs along with the rest of the album.
Yeah.
And I can kind of sing along to it, but I had no idea that was the words until I started actually actively listening to it today. It's just like, Dog New Tricks? What the hell kind of words are those? That's a stupid way to say. It's like, it should say like Old Dog New Tricks, not just Dog New Tricks. Or something.
Isn't she Scottish or Irish? I mean,
she's Scottish.
Maybe it's a cultural thing. I mean,
I suppose that's possible.
Yeah.
I feel like it's just missing. It's missing something.
I didn't think it was that bad. I mean, the notes I had, I think the deliberate way she sings, the slower, just more that type of deal, I didn't think necessarily fit with this song because this was a little bit more of an upbeat type of deal. Could have done without the drum machine. That was just a little too obvious, and I did write, guitar solo was, pardon the pun, garbage. I did not intend to bring all the garbage puns.
No, it's totally fine. Track 10 is called My Lover's Box. Okay. It's unremarkable to me too. I can't even bring the song to mind right now.
Yeah. I put it that the vocal mix was pretty quiet at the start. Mediocre song. I guess it sounded, for me, the reason it didn't really hit a chord is that it did sound a little overproduced and sounded just a little too 90s for me, if that makes sense.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
A little too 90s. All right, track 11 is called Fix Me Now.
In the 90s, we used to say that about the 80s and the 70s.
I know, we did, didn't we?
We deserve this.
We deserve it. Track 11 is called Fix Me Now. I'm pretty good with this song. Fix me now, I wish you would bring me back to life. It almost sounds like you're coming back from heartache and then you meet somebody new and you're just like, okay, I think they might be able to sort of
they can
fix my heart, sort of thing.
Break my heart.
Unbreak my heart. Say you love me again. Yeah, I worked at a soft rock radio station. I know these songs.
Oh my god.
Those songs. I can sing along with Tony
Coming
Braxton.
soon from K-Tel Records. It's Perry Farrell and Tony Braxton. Jinxes.
Unbreak my heart. Oh, good God. Fix me now. Alright, track 12.
Alright.
It's called Milk. Okay, so I like this song a lot. I don't understand the title. And some of the lyrics, it's like, I am milk. And I'm just like, what? And then the chorus, and it's kind of sad, but I like the way it feels in my ears.
Let me look and see if I can talk and look at the same time.
But I just kind of like, the lyrics are so strange.
But that's what
and then the chorus is just like, I'm waiting. So it's like, did you send your lover to the store to get milk because you had cookies, or vice versa? And so now you're singing that you are the milk, and I'm waiting for you. Cookies, come to me.
No.
Now I want cookies.
Not this Billie Holiday, damn it.
It's Billie IE, if you're looking for that Billie Holiday. And Phil has decided to come join us now. You're going to say hi, or you're just going to rub your face on the on the box that's
Yeah,
holding up the
don't bump the
microphone.
box. Okay, I was thinking it wasn't exactly what I thought it was, but I was thinking of the Billie Holiday song "Strange Fruit," and I guess that song was about rape or something like that.
Huh.
And that maybe she was using milk as kind of a poetic symbolism to mean something else. Now,
Oh, that's possible.
yeah, I mean that's, I based on how much I like the song, that's putting a lot more thought into it, I guess. But I don't, Shirley Manson, great songwriter. I think that it would definitely be, something to think about.
Okay.
But I would say, as far as my thoughts on a song, it had the Casio keyboard type of opening, which I didn't care for. The vocals were muddy for my taste. It got better as it went on, and it did remind me of "The World Is Not Enough." You got to hear that song to understand what I'm saying there. Just how she sings that chorus, "The world is not,"
I remember how it goes.
Yeah, but for people that didn't, I wanted to sing badly. One thing I also mentioned too is that I wouldn't have ended the album with this track.
Really? Because I kind of like the way it ends on kind of a quiet note.
To me, it was a depressing note.
Oh.
It was just, everything was like sort of upbeat, or even if it wasn't upbeat, it had some intensity to it. And then this was just, meh. This is the droopy dog of the album. Yeah, sure.
I like it. I like it when albums either like ended on kind of a quiet note, or they end it with a boom, like that, just like that.
Just like somebody coming up to your nose, boom.
Yep, sure, just like that. Boop. So this album was part of a poll that I put up on our Friends Talking Nerdy Facebook page, and
I forgot to do one.
And you forgot to do one again? Oh.
What I will do this time, I'm not going to name an album today.
What?
I'm going to put that poll up after I post the episode up, because we're recording on Saturday. We're going to release it right away. But once I release the episode, I will put the poll up, and the poll is going to end on Wednesday.
Okay.
I think Tuesday.
Okay.
I think that would be better for...
Yeah, Tuesday.
Yeah, that would give plenty, because you got to work on Thursday and
yep.
listening to the album, and then you can doing the shit. There's a lot of homework for this show.
Yes, there's a lot of finagling that goes into choosing albums and finding time to listen and making notes and all that sort of stuff, and still being productive members of society. Semi-productive, I guess I should say.
Yep. All right. Anything else you want to say?
Make sure you vote in November, and if you have local primaries, vote in those too.
Especially if you have local primaries, because the local and state primaries are usually where national attention is like 5, 10, 15 years later.
Yeah, and a lot of times these local primaries also have other things on the ballot that are important to your local government, like maybe school board measures, local elections. All kinds of things can happen. Not everything is going to happen in November.
If you're wondering why your kids are not able to go on a field school trip and they get taught with history books written in 1912, it's because you don't vote. That's because the school board measures are usually they're on a lot of elections, but their main focus on the news for the local stuff is always during off year elections. And you get people, do you want an 85-year-old person who has no kids or grandkids deciding the future of your kids?
Probably not.
No, you don't. You want to decide that for yourself, so get out and vote. Yeah.
Plus, school funding helps pay for things like arts education, including music, things like that. And it helps with all the different activities that are available at your public schools.
Yep.
So, and even if you don't have kids, or your kids are in private schools, you should still be voting and approving school board measures, because kids in public school will probably be taking care of you at some point in your life, and you don't want stupid people as your caregivers. Trust
But
me.
I don't want to pay $20 a month extra on my property taxes.
Well,
it's not fair.
Well,
I
suck
shouldn't
it up.
have to pay taxes.
Suck it up. Paying taxes is part of what makes America great. It's true.
Yeah.
We can't be a great nation unless we're helping each other out, and helping each other out includes paying your taxes.
And think about it in the financial sense, like Walmart with underpaying their employees. You think you're getting a great deal when you're spending, half the amount you would on something like toilet paper than you would by going to a big name grocery store or something like that. But guess what? Your taxes are subsidizing the welfare a lot of the Walmart employees have to go on. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure you're paying a lot more in taxes than you did by paying, like a few cents extra for some toilet paper you bought at Walmart.
Yeah, don't shop at Walmart. Shop at like Winco or Costco or any other grocery store. Co. Because most grocery stores are union, except Walmart. And a lot of the Costco pays their employees well, takes care of their people. Walmart does not. So there you go.
Yeah, fuck them.
Yeah, pretty much.
On that happy note, we do children's parties, by the way.
Yes, invite us to your children's parties. We will tell them to fuck Walmart and talk about Harlots and abortion. It'll be great fun for everybody.
And then I'll take a musical interlude as Perry Farrell.
Please do not.
I'll sing for the kitty.
Please do not.
Old MacDonald had a farm.
E-I-E-I-O. No.
Right.
Yeah. We're smoking crack.
No, not literally.
All right, I think we're done. Let's just stop now and forever hold our peace. Yes.
Well, I mean, we both got impressions now. I mean, the cats have been here.
No, let's stop. We're done.
Okay. That is it for another week. We will see you all next week. And remember,
it's such a good feeling to know you're alive. It's such a happy feeling. You're growing inside, and when you wake up ready to say, I think I'll make a snappy new day. It's such a good feeling, a very good feeling. The feeling you know that I'll be back when the day is new, and I'll have more ideas for you, and you'll have things you'll want to talk about. I will too. You always make each day such a special day. You know how? By just your being you. Only one person in the whole world like you. That's you yourself. I'll be back next time. Bye-bye.
Subscribe to Friends Talking Nerdy on iTunes, the Google Play Music Store, as well as Spotify. Remember to support Friends Talking Nerdy on Patreon. Goodbye, darling.